Ladies and gentlemen, friends, colleagues and listeners, here we are again and back with another show with Mr. Dickson. Stevie boy, lovely to see you again.
Good afternoon, Chris. Happy weekend.
Yes, indeed. Happy weekend. There's a statement now. Happy weekend. It is, mate. I tell you, by the end of each week, it's quite worthwhile, isn't it? My God. So busy as ever, Steve, huh?
Yeah, crazy week. I had a few days holiday. I had a few days in a different location, let's say. I'm not quite sure it fully counted holiday. I was very pleased that my wife, for the first time, didn't take her laptop. The whole time we've been together, she's taken her laptop wherever she goes, and it didn't come on this trip. So she's come back suitably refreshed. I worked a lot of the time, and I'm off traveling again later today. So yeah, the wheels keep turning, but this is all very good. How about yourself?
Yeah, no, it's so busy, Steve. It's incredible, absolutely amazing. And after our little, shall we say, unscheduled advert with regards to anybody being interested in getting in touch, I'm glad to say quite a few people have done. So we might end up being even more busy than we are at the moment, my friend. Which ain't a bad thing.
This is a good problem to have, I suspect.
It is indeed, mate. It is. However, it's reflective of everything that's going on now because you look at so many of the comments, so much feedback now. Whilst this should be a fantastic period of recovery and everybody enjoying the benefits of satisfying customer expectations, etc., it's far from. Still the amount of vacancies that are available, the customer service levels, schedules being disrupted, equipment not being available, and it's across the board, Steve, everywhere. I mean, even where I am at the moment, there's adverts for people in all sorts of jobs that you wouldn't imagine. So, in the job market, it's exceptional, which is great, but it's also going to be another inflationary driver, and the inflation prospect is not boding well for everything that we're doing because production demand isn't as high as it was, production is slowing. There's so many factors affecting the business that we're in, which is it's an incredible time at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we same here in Malaysia, I was in the Philippines last week alongside you, we are struggling for resources in this part of the world, as everybody is in Europe and elsewhere. And there's this competing sort of pressure now, competing in a very sort of strong competitive environment for resources, and therefore that's pushing up pay, it's pushing up expectations, it's pushing up businesses to think slightly more laterally or broadly about how they engage people, whether that's with sign-on bonuses, with retention bonuses, split sign-on bonuses plus retention, referral fees, all sorts, and indeed even what's now being referred to as compressed work weeks. So PwC in the UK this week are cock a hoop, or at least their workers are, that they no longer have to work on Fridays all throughout the summer months, so that their workers can enjoy a Friday off in the sun, providing they complete their work within Monday to Thursday. I think that's complete and utter bollocks, personally, but you probably knew I would think that. Because I think being seen is being believed, and being in the office and being present is everything. Get out from your beds and behind your Netflix boxes and get yourself back to work, you lazy sods.
Well, thank you very, very much for that political broadcast from who knows what party, but one that will.
No, my party. Is wavering slightly now, Chris, after some events over the last few weeks that has made me slightly disappointed with my national choice of party, and actually very disappointed therefore at a local level, because good local politicians suffer as a result of ineffective and stupid leadership behaviours.
Yeah, but
isn't that true across the board, Chris? I mean, there's a theme for a conversation.
No, it is, and it's one that I mean. Just going back to what you said there as well, this business now about people rushing and panicking now to get especially the specialist skills back in, but also what you said there about the focus on all these incentives and all these gimmicks and everything. That's fine if they align it with end outcomes, Steve, with higher productivity or greater efficiencies or or whether it's return on investment for training or whatever it is, it should be something that's tied in with tangible results. Then I would suggest that the Friday off, if people can genuinely prove that they're achieving everything that's there and they start to see KPIs or QPIs or whatever it is going up, it's a bad thing. But when it's just done to try and make people feel as if they're better off staying with that one company rather than another, that I don't think is a good thing. So I agree in that sense.
Yeah, I think but I mean, it's all hands on deck. You know, it is now, you know, everybody rushing and feeling the pressure for the same resources. They were trying to recruit from the same pool. You know, and I've heard stories, Chris, of people moving from, you know, employer A to employer B, staying for the 6 weeks or the 2 months, whatever, to get the sign on, then moving to employer C. I mean, you know, what does that do for industry? What does it do for you know, overall sort of macro level cost of living and the broader inflationary pressures that we're seeing? We've seen most central banks considering, you know, rate increases to the base lending rate or base interest rate, and this actually will probably, you know, while some people will be rubbing their hands with glee, you know, and you know, I was quite chuffed to see personally interest rates go up, because I haven't seen anything in interest rates go up in 10 years. So if you're in the fortunate position to save and have some investments, then it's a good thing. But if you are also, you know, got these pressures of managing cash and the pressures on cost of living, then of course it is slightly concerning for people. So I think all of this coming together in this short burst in a very, you know, narrow space of time, Chris, is going to be a problem for a lot of people.
Yeah, perfect storm brewing. Yeah, it's incredible. And the other thing, Steve, is I was talking to somebody yesterday, and he's a well-known personality in the business. And what he was saying now is that he's being bombarded with requests to support crisis management and crisis leadership, not just leadership, because everybody's talking about that at the moment, but crisis leadership and how people manage to accommodate the reactions and the impact of certain crises. And crisis now is being termed in many different ways, greater than it was before the pandemic. But all these things that are brewing, they're new issues that people have got to contend with. And one being the loyal employees, when they see all these inducements for people to come in and out of their organisations and they're getting nothing, that's not going to bode well for them staying. And that's the backbone of the business. You've got to keep your loyal employees who do a good job day in, day out, and don't necessarily want to be the next CEO. They're just happy to do a good job.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So anyhow, good for us. Good for us, and anybody that wants any ideas or guidance on those particular issues. Another sad one, Steve. You know, in investment in our industry and all around the world is exceptional. It has been exceptional. And then when you see things being destroyed, you know, willfully for no other reason than God knows what. And the topic I'm talking about is Odessa with the runway missile hit, you know, with a relatively new airport, which was built, you know, hoping to bring many people and businesses into the country. And now it's going to have to be repaired like so much of the country. I mean, it's an awful situation there, Steve. Yeah. And even when it ends, please God, what a job. I mean, it's a decade's worth, if not more. You know, how do you get people back and how do you get them up and running again? It's going to be such an incredibly difficult structure and organisation to overcome. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I mean, you know, infrastructure, you know, I being a conservative with a small c, I like big infrastructure projects. I think big infrastructure is good overall. It generates prosperity, it generates jobs, it generates economic, development and interest, and I think it excites a lot of people. You know, it creates pathways for people to move from A to B. So I think infrastructure is very critical. I think there has been, there will be, Chris, specifically in that case, I mean, there will be a lot of rebuilding of infrastructure required. But you just think about the challenges and the logistical challenges that presents when you lose critical infrastructure of that nature, which is often used, whether it's seaports or it's airports or it's main trunk roads and the like, to actually get all of that going again before you can actually then start the rebuild, because you need the feed in before you can start all of that activity. So I think that's quite interesting. I think that a lot of people will probably do quite well from the rebuild, very sadly, after a torrid time. But look, big infrastructure projects are really critical for everybody overall. And I was really pleased this week to see finally TfL announce the opening date for Crossrail. We're slightly going off tangent from our airport or aviation themed infrastructure we're not discussing this program, but on this program, I've upgraded us, Chris, to a program on the telly. There I should be so bold.
The film will be coming shortly.
That's right. Feature length. That's right. Feature length. Yeah, look, I mean, Crossrail announcing opening this week. That's been a massive piece of infrastructure. Actually, when you look at the amount of complexity, whilst I think it was £4 billion over budget, actually, I think that's probably pretty good, given how complex the building underground in London is, in one of the busiest cities of the world. So that's great. Let's hope it will further extend to the new Heathrow East or Heathrow third runway or Heathrow, wherever it might well be, and support that as well as the existing facilities.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just that when you look, you know, when things are going on, you sort of tend to overlook when it started and when it's going to finish. But you know, the Odessa runway and the project that was going on there, it was almost 10 years in construction, and then to have it damaged like that, it's just willful negligence, craziness. I think
he's a terrorist. Actually, I think this is terrorist-like activities from the Russian state.
Yeah,
I mean, you see I mean, we must touch on the war crimes that he's committing, and you know, talks of drowning children in these, you know, the steelworks and the steel. What do you call the
compound?
And it's just, good God, this is unbelievable. I did read with some degree of sort of comfort that you know, largely his generals or admirals would reject a strike on swathes of Western Europe, which is slightly reassuring. But nonetheless, that man is, whilst he's still there, is a dangerous proposition for the entire world, and needs to be taken away.
Yeah, no, it's madness. But also some of the other politics that should have been curbed and should have been controlled better leading up to it. I mean, going back, I don't know, 7-8 years, that, you know, it's unnecessary. People should be looking forward and protecting the next generations rather than messing around with things like this. But anyhow, who are we to say? Who are we to do? So something else now. You mentioned just as we were coming on, Steve, about Qantas now and about the you know, that huge journey that's going to be in play soon.
Sorry, what was that? No, the huge journey. I thought you were continuing. Sorry.
Yeah, no. The Qantas flight. You
know,
length of the journey, and you being a seasoned long haul traveller, would that bother you, that length of time?
Well, I did 18 hours last week from Los Angeles to Singapore. So no, given it's only 19 hours from Sydney to London, no, it wouldn't bother me the slightest. Providing I've got the right seat. I'm not saying I'd do it in economy, Chris, let's be clear. And I wouldn't. And maybe a lot of people wouldn't either. But for a lot of people, they would. You know, I think about this. A lot of questions are asked about, oh God, is that healthy? Is it good for your body? Is well-being, you know, do you need to consider well-being of the customers? And the answer, of course, is yes, one does need to consider that. But look, it's not much, you know, greater than we've already got today. But I mean, I know, Chris, you know, you've worked in this part of the world. When you're in places like India, there are bus journeys that go for 24 hours. When I was living in Mexico, there were bus journeys of 30 hours and more. You know, and the bus stops once or twice so people can, you know, get out and stretch their legs. But once your 10 minutes is up, you're back on. There's nothing to stop, you know, airlines, and I think the Qantas are very good at this actually from the well-being perspective, is ensuring people are mobile and they're active, and you know, they get up and move around the cabin. personally, I didn't move once when I was. I think I might have got up once to take a leak, but the whole time I was either sitting in my seat working, using the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi was as fast as I could get, probably in any airport terminal as it is on the aircraft. Incredible. And I think I had about 3 sleeps, because you have about 6 hours sleep and you wake
That's
up
appropriate.
and there's still 12 hours to go. So you say, oh, well, I'll have a bit of food and I'll have a couple of whiskeys, and then you fall asleep again 5 hours, and you get up and you say, oh, there's still 5 hours to go. I mean, that's quite incredible. So I don't have a problem with it personally. As I say, I'm not ashamed to admit, no, I wouldn't fly an economy. But a lot of people would, and they do today, Chris, on similar journeys. So I don't think much of it. But look, great to see. I mean, Perth, London is one thing. I think it's a little over 17, just under 17 hours, 1650 or 1640 or something. But Project Sunrise was really developed to connect the eastern seaboard with London, and now every city is one stop from Australia. Can you believe that? Now, I remember the days, Chris, I mean, I don't remember, because I wasn't flying those days, but I remember reading the stories of people flying from, Sydney to Darwin to Singapore to Kuala Lumpur to Bombay to Bahrain to Athens to London. That was a 6-stop or 7-stop journey. And it took them, a day and a half or 2 days, or, I mean, in hours, I should say hours, 36 hours or more. Now, of course, 19 hours straight. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal to think that in just, this is not a long time ago, huh? We're talking in less than 30 years, 40 years, we've made that possible. But even recently, we were still doing, Singapore or London, Singapore, Sydney, forever. But Sydney, London, I'm pretty chuffed with that. I think that's a great route. A350-1000 should also congratulate Qantas on their aircraft order. Big order gone in for the 220s, 320s, and 350-1000s, which of course will allow them to operate Sunrise. So a big shift away from Boeing there. Boeing will be very upset about that, no doubt. Boeing have lost the Qantas 738 operator. Of course, they're a long-term 744, 767. Never had the 777, much to the chagrin of the pilot community in Australia. 707, of course, which is now owned by none other than John Travolta. A little factoid there for you: the Qantas 707 with John Travolta in his backyard somewhere in the US. I don't know exactly where, but I'm off to the US again shortly, and I will find out. Anyway, congrats to Qantas. Whilst dealing with a big backdrop of industrial problems and concerns, they lost a High Court case, I believe, this week with the outsourcing, which I think is bollocks, really. An airline has the right to outsource, provided they do it properly and through consultation, which I don't know the detail, but as you know, Chris, Qantas has been a long-term client of ours, and I've got no reason to think that Qantas were being anything other than business-minded. In fact, I'm happy to say, 10 years ago, when I first arrived at Jetstar, or more actually, 13 years ago, good Lord, I can't remember, 2009, I found it very curious that Jetstar and Qantas still did self-handling, when in Europe we'd largely gotten rid of that. Many airlines and many ports, many stations had gone for a long time. So I'm surprised it took them so long, with my view. Anyway, best of luck to Qantas with their order. Great news, and I'll be very happy to join them on that first Sydney-London flight in 2025.
Nice.
Alan, I need a ticket.
Yeah.
In a right cabin.
Who knows? Maybe. Right, Steve. Anything else? What's your outlook now? What do you think?
Well, I think outlook is extremely. I mean, going on my personal engagement, Chris, with the client base, it is extremely busy, and this is really good. And we've now been able to sort of farm out some more work, or bring colleagues back into the business that we hadn't worked with for a while, and that's really good and really great. I'm really chuffed with that. I think Asia is still quite slow. I'm here in Malaysia now, and I've flown in Malaysia this week, flew in the Philippines this week, flew from Singapore this week. We've got quite a busy week, and it's great to see airports like Changi busy. it gets the airports like Manila busy. But unfortunately, Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia still internationally is pretty quiet, pretty conservative here still. Thailand just opened up this week. The best news I got yesterday was Japan opening in June. Yes.
Yeah.
As you know, Japan is a favoured place of mine, not just for the whiskey, Chris, but for much more. Japan is probably a place that my wife and I go the most on holiday, and so we were desperate to get back there, and so I think that's looking good. Europe, on the other hand, and the US, again, I'm off to the US next week, but I think they're doing rather well. I mean, the domestic market, I flew from LA, I was in Canada like 10 days ago, I was in US, very busy. Europe doing very well. I think they're up to about 70 or 75% of capacity week on week with 2019. So margin, and that's overall. I mean, that's overall ASKs or overall activity. So that's pretty good, I think. So yeah, I'm pretty positive, Chris. I'm just hoping that the resource issues don't come back and bite anyone so badly on the backside as they have done already. I'm hoping that it doesn't get further concentrated. I'm hoping that we start to unlock some of that, some of those issues and solve some of the resourcing problems that we've got, because that, I believe, is what will hold us back.
Yeah, and that's what people need to focus on a lot now. And the crazy thing is, so many management are busy being busy, but it's not making things better. And they need to step back a little bit and just start looking at these things that are going to start coming back down the road in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year and beyond, because this is going to be here for a long time. Anyhow,
I believe that. Yeah.
Yep. And then, my friend, right, we're near at the end. I just want to put a little something up here so people can see this. Okay, these numbers and what it is. That's me and my wife. We're doing a walk for life this afternoon. Unfortunately, we know so many people that are affected by cancer. So no matter how bad the business is or things that are going wrong, there's always people out there that are a lot worse, and they get on with things, and God bless them. So anybody gets the chance to support something like that, I would strongly recommend you do. Not only does it make you feel better inside, but outside also. So with that, and without further ado, I look forward to seeing you again. I'm not sure whether we're doing this now on a weekly basis, bi-weekly or whatever, but when our paths are able to cross efficiently with that great robed director that we've got in the background, Salem, then it will be soon enough.
Thanks, Chris. I'm not sure. Look, when we were slightly less busy, a weekly podcast was something that one could readily commit to. But now that one has dealing with 15-hour and 16-hour differences in time zones, it becomes slightly more challenging. So apologies to our loyal listeners and viewers. If you choose to view us, good on you. If you just listen, well, I think that's my preferred mode of engagement. But yeah, look, on a serious note, work is busy, and therefore that comes first. The client must always come first. Customer is key to the recovery, and therefore I'm sure, Chris, people will understand that. That's why we're not here as often as we may wish to be.
Yeah. But just to add, the people that do write in and do send messages, they're always answered, and it's greatly appreciated. And for two people in specific terms, I won't mention the names, good luck, and I hope next month now brings everything that you wanted, and it just goes to show that if you stick at it for a little bit of time, things do turn around. So they know who they are. And that's it, Stephen. End of the show. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Cheers, Chris. Have a good one.
Thanks.